that is mentally draining and exhausting if we are constantly in a state, we're doing critical thinking, we're on a particular task, and then anytime that we get pulled away by a notification or a ding or anything from our phone or our computer, it takes our brain to that other task and then brings us back. And that could be mentally draining.
Yeah, you said a couple things there that really intrigued me because I have two young children myself. I have a 4-year-old boy and a 1.5-year-old who's just taken his first couple of steps yesterday. Knock on wood, he goes all the way here in the next couple of days. But you talked a lot about, and you said it very discreetly, which I think is great. You didn't put too much pressure on yourself, which is you got a Peloton, you worked out 25 times, and you realized my body needs sleep. And I think that part of burnout is, a lot of these things are in your control, but a lot of them are not, especially if you have two young children. And so being able to tell yourself that, hey, it's okay if I don't ride the Peloton today, because maybe that's not what my body needs. Maybe I just need to go on a 20-minute walk, or maybe I go for a run, or maybe I do something personally and take myself out. Me personally, one of the biggest impacts that I've had in the last 2 weeks was I stopped wearing my iWatch during the day. And why did I do that? Because I felt that I was reading emails too much during the day. And I was taking away from doing the actual critical thinking that I needed. And so just that small impact myself has already helped me alleviate some stress. So how did you, with these 7 steps, how long did it kind of take you to develop these and kind of see some of them working out to your benefit, if that's the right terminology?
Oh, well, I would say I'm still developing them.
I love that answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of being gritty is developing that growth, embracing and adopting that growth mindset, that we are not the characteristics that we're born with. Yes, it's part of our personality, but our past does not define us. Who we are can grow and evolve, and we can develop new skill sets when we adopt a growth mindset. But I want to dig in a little bit to what you just said, because this is really important. And that is, what is on our mental capacity, what is distracting us? So you talked about your iWatch, which was pinging you throughout the day. One of the strategies that I talk about in a professional capacity is turning the notifications off on your email, turn the notifications off on your phone, turn the notifications off on any reminders that are popping up on your phone, because that is mentally draining and exhausting if we are constantly in a state, we're doing critical thinking, we're on a particular task, and then anytime that we get pulled away by a notification or a ding or anything from our phone or our computer, it takes our brain to that other task and then brings us back. And that could be mentally draining. Also, too, protecting your first hour of your day and the last hour of your day. If you wake up immediately and you go to your phone and you go to your email, this happened the other day. My husband woke up and he went straight to his phone. He checks his email and he says, I've got a meeting that I need to drive to and it's an hour away. And I'm like, you just woke up this morning and started your morning off thinking of all the things that you've got to do for the day. What would it look like if you started your morning off where I wake up now that he's home and I'm sleeping more? Now I wake up in the morning and I ride my Peloton. So I fuel my body. I will take a cold shower to wake me up. I have breakfast with my kids. I will start with my daily devotional. I'm setting the intention for the day in a good mindset. I also recognize at the end of the day that if I'm watching TV, if I'm looking at my phone, I'm getting distracted. So instead, I know that the last an hour to 30 minutes before I go to bed, I'll try to read. and I'll try to read something that's positive. So I'm starting my day with motivation and I'm ending my evening with motivation as well. All of that is supporting my mental well-being.
That's beautiful. I actually myself went on a huge spiritual day like about 3 weeks ago. And part of me taking off my watch was what you just mentioned. It was, you know, moving away some of the emotions I have in the business and putting them somewhere else. And so I personally did. I did exactly what you said. I scheduled my morning out where, okay, every morning I'm doing my meditation, I'm doing my affirmations, and I'm going to make both of my kids breakfast. So my wife doesn't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about chaotic stuff. And I don't even turn on my computer until 8:30. I just wait till 8:30 to come in here. It's really hard at around 8 when we get everything done early. And I'm like, oh, I go to work. But yeah, it has made such a huge impact already. I can see on me and the amount of energy and the amount of time that I'm getting done. And so that morning negativity, I like what you said about I like what you said about not even checking the phone. I think that's the last commitment I can make to myself as well, is just make sure I don't get up and check my phone before. I've been trying the cold showers myself, but it's hard to get into that routine. It's hard to get into the cold shower routine.
It is. So I still like my warm showers. I will say that. But one little trick that I did, is what I have like a little mini fridge that sits on my bathroom counter. And this may sound fluffy, but hey, it works for me. I take a washcloth, I put it in water, and I do this at the beginning of the week. I put some eucalyptus oil on it, I roll it up, I put it in the fridge. So every morning I wash my face with this cold, refreshing eucalyptus. There's studies behind peppermint and eucalyptus and how that affects our energy level. So it sounds really fluffy, but hey, it works in the morning for me.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, and I call that fluffy, because I think that this leads to some of the next topics I kind of want to talk about, which is, the business mindset and when these things really start taking effect. Because I remember when I opened my business about 7 years ago, I looked at mindset and I was like, oh, that's just clickbaity stuff. Like, yeah, I don't need to worry about that. I need to grind. I need to just go in there and work my butt off. And now that I'm at a certain point of the business, I think that this is a natural progression of any person, is that and the variation of money can change, but at the end of the day, it's what does success look like to me? And like you said, the whole premise of why am I in this business? What am I really going to do? What is successful to me? And I think there's a huge mindset thing around that. And so I kind of want to get in with you a little bit on what you were just saying with the fluffy part, but kind of talking a little bit about how that works with roadblocks to success and what you've kind of seen and what you've kind of done to kind of overcome some of those.
Yeah. So you spot on just nailed this challenge that I would say is a consistent in my business and a consistent in my life, but it's developing the tools to overcome it. And that is this, what does success look like for us? And defining what success looks like for us. So I had a very successful career in corporate America. I was making a lot of money, and I started my career at 23 and was making six figures at 23. So to walk away from a salary, bonuses, stock options, company car, health benefits, all of that, I would say, is sometimes still a struggle, because as you know, in the beginning of starting a business, it takes time to build. It takes time to build that business. But anytime that I have that self-doubt, I take a step back and look at, what does success mean to me? Is it always going to be tied to money, or is it tied to my purpose? And when I'm living in alignment with my purpose, that's happiness. And can you really put a price on happiness? I used to have a suitcase that I never unpacked. It sat in my room. I had my toiletries that were separate toiletries in there. And I lived out of the suitcase. 1 year before kids, I had 250 nights in a hotel, which means I spent more time in a hotel than I did my own bed. And when I think about what success looks like, and I think about what happiness looks like, what is happiness to me? Is it being on the plane all the time? Is it living out of a suitcase? Or is it being able to be home with my kids and to wake up in the morning and have breakfast with them, and to pursue my passion and my purpose in what I do in my business, which is helping others? So I agree with you, is really defining what success looks like for you, and always understanding what your values, beliefs are, and aligning your purpose to that. And that will sometimes be the fuel to look at, when am I experiencing self-doubt? When am I experiencing burnout? And getting back into alignment with those.